Hey, so my name is Jessica Popek, and this is my submission for my lesson plan. I went ahead and I already completed the template that you saved for us, and I'm also going to include a PowerPoint for my technology for the lesson plan. It's kind of hard to see. I have it displayed on another laptop right now, but hopefully you'll get the idea that it's for a lesson plan for my students, my future students. And I'll go ahead and I'm also going to be submitting that with the assignment so that you can see exactly what is on the lesson plan, and maybe follow along with that as I'm teaching. All right, so here we go. My subject is proofreading for grade 7, and we're going to go ahead and continue with that right now. All right, class, so today we're going to be talking about proofreading. I know we've been learning a lot about basics for writing formal essays and stuff like that. Does anybody know exactly how an essay works? Yes, I know we've been learning a lot of that lately. We're going to go ahead and talk about a little bit, review what we've been doing lately, about writing introductories, as far as putting a strong introductory sentence inside, followed by a body and a conclusion. We're going to go right ahead and keep talking about that. We're going to talk about the importance of effective writing. First, we have how we're going to use that in the future. Well, for your guys' future, to get into high school and your classes and your teachers that you'll be having then, you're going to be having to do persuasive essays, informative essays, lots of good stuff like that. I know you're all looking forward to that, right? Following that, past high school, you're going to be looking towards college, and even after college, you're going to be putting together. Anybody have any idea what we do after college? We get jobs, right? What do we do with jobs? How do you get a good one? Awesome. Yeah, we need to write some resumes for that. So that's another great idea for effective writing. That's reasons why you need that in real life. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Things you want to watch out for when you are doing. Things you want to watch out for when you guys are proofreading either yourselves or your students, your fellow students' essays, are going to be punctuation errors. Number one thing. I know you guys are a little bit older, you're a little bit past that. You know your things, you know the differences and how punctuation should be used for the most part. You've been reviewing it since you were yay high, but we're going to keep enforcing that. So you want to make sure that those simple little errors sometimes, we're kind of getting rid of them. So little by little, getting past that, right guys? Alrighty. Besides punctuation errors, grammar errors. Differences between there and there. T-H-E-I-R or T-H-E-R-E. Gonna go ahead and talk about things like that. Look out for things like that when you're looking at your own essays. Sometimes it's not that you don't know the difference, it's just that it slips your mind. And guess what? Spell check will not always fix that for you. Organization. We've been doing that for weeks now, weeks and weeks. Organization is key. You want to make sure that your essay has an actual topic and you're discussing that topic. Don't get off track. If you find yourself getting off track, that's fine. Just make sure that you're still relevant to that introductory paragraph that you set up for yourself. Following that, make sure that your conclusion is concluding all of the ideas that you've had in your body and your introduction. And just go ahead and make sure you've got that strong intro and that great conclusion that makes your reader coming back wanting more, wanting to learn more about whatever you're writing about. So that's what you're going to be looking for when you're proofreading others' articles or others' essays. Even if there's not actual mistakes in punctuation and in grammar, that's okay. You can still give input. For example, maybe they have a great introduction and a great body, and maybe their conclusion is lacking just a little bit. Go ahead and give some suggestions. Hey, like maybe you can add this into it instead of this, and it might sound a little bit, more influencing. Moving on, tips for proofreading, actual tips. Read it out loud. A lot of times, guys, when it's on paper, you read it in your head. It sounds a little bit different than if you actually read it out loud. Then you have a lot more errors that might come up, and you're like, comes out of your mouth, and you're like, well, that sounds pretty silly. It's okay. At least you read it out loud. You caught the mistake and go back and fix it. Not a big deal. Concentrate. Very hard. If you're in a big classroom, and I know sometimes we like to talk and get rowdy and have a lot of fun with each other, and that's great. But you want to make sure that you're concentrating on that article. The best time to proofread is when you're by yourself and you can find a quiet place and you're able to definitely just look over your paper or who else's paper and just find those errors that you need to find to move on to that. Ask a friend. Like I said, that's what we're going to be doing a little bit of today. Besides proofreading your own paper, you're going to be looking at somebody else's. Check, 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 and double check. So after you've checked once, you've checked twice, check a third time just to be sure before you hand it in to your teacher. I grade so many papers that sometimes I find those silly mistakes and you guys see all those errors when I circle them. You're going to get that back and you're like, oh man, why did I do that? I didn't see that. Just look again, guys. No harm in looking a second, third, maybe even a fourth time. You don't want to drive yourself crazy, but at least check and double check. Alrighty. Now it's time for guided practice. So right now I'm going to go ahead and post up a sample essay over the smartboard, and we're going to go along as a class and find out each mistake sentence by sentence. We'll do it aloud, and we'll see what's on after that. Alrighty guys, now it's time for our independent practice. We have a really cool idea set up for us today. I have had a few of your essays that have been previously submitted, and I'm going to go ahead and hand them back to everybody so that you guys can read and look over your own essays and find the mistakes that you yourself had previously made. That's going to be great because I will be able to see which one of you guys is actually grasping all of this. Sounds good? Alrighty. Once we're done with that, we're going to do a little bit of cooperative learning, and we're going to go ahead and split up into pairs. I will be doing the splitting up, so don't try and get with all your best friends because we want to meet everybody over here. Part of the cooperative learning, you're going to take those old essays that you had, you're going to swap them with your partner. You guys are each going to review the opposite's paper. The fun of all of this, we're going to add a little bit of competition. The fun of all this is going to be whoever can find and spot the most correct errors, if that makes any sense. The most spotted errors, correctly spotted errors, will get a free homework pass. I know all you guys aren't such a big fan of homework, so you're going to go ahead and get that freebie from me once you resubmit that back into me. Alright, and then once we're done with that, we're all done for that class today, and then we're going to head out to lunch. Sounds good?